I'm at Newlab Central, here for a Black Tech Talk. And I decided to bring you guys with me. How y'all doing? Would you look at this? We're at the Newlab facilities, part of Ford's home base. Lots of cool stuff here. But they got a co-working space of sorts. Nice little lab. There's a lot happening in the city of Detroit, guys. There's a lot happening.
When you think about ecosystems that are thriving, the culture of that ecosystem is what makes it make sense. When you look around this room, think about what Detroit looks like. Think about everything we know about tech, and this is us actually reimagining what it looks like. So everything about tech and art to me are very parallel, and I think as we continue on this, we're gonna see really what art and tech can do, and that was just the first step.
So, as you know, healthcare is the biggest slice of pie that we spend in this country. 1/5 of the GDP is spent in this space. So, I'm in tech now, I went through the coding boot camps, right? I'm starting to get this unique experience in terms of, like, what are the real value proposition and how do I display that to those individuals, the patients, payers, and providers, Triangle Office of Healthcare, by the way. And how do we provide that value in the company that I ended up starting was born, so.
What's going on, people? Eddy Carrington, Mayor of Flux City, and today I am on Detroit's east side in the beautiful Islandview neighborhood, and I am walking a site that I submitted an RFP for, and this is 6 contiguous parcels of land in a residential neighborhood, and we want to convert this land into multifamily units. And today I'm just gonna have you walk with me as I kind of talk to you about what our vision is for this site from a high level, and a bit about the neighborhood, and you know, what I look for when it comes to potential developments that gain my attention and ultimately get me to a point where I'm submitting an RFP packet to hopefully have an opportunity to redevelop. So once again, we are in the wonderful Islandview neighborhood, and these 6 contiguous lots of land came up for bid through the Detroit Land Bank website and through HRD, and they're looking for proposals that ultimately allow for a developer to come in and add more density to sites such as this one. So, you know, this is one of the areas and neighborhoods that have seen a lot of growth over the last 5 or 6 years. A number of developments have sprung up, including the Parker Durant. You got the Co that is in West Village. You also have a number of commercial properties that have gained new life across the Kirchville corridor. Updated bike lanes, and ultimately this helps with adding more density to this community. But adding even more density is a good thing, because people want to live where people live. And so the more density, the better. And that's where, these infill projects that the city of Detroit is looking for could potentially get us to a point where we're able to assist with increasing that level of density in this community. But 6 contiguous lots of land, which basically means that they're all side by side, which makes it a lot easier to develop as opposed to trying to, piece together a number of parcels that are owned by multiple individuals or organizations. These lots are owned by the land bank. So the bid price on these lots were under $30,000, and so pretty affordable when it comes to the purchase price. But obviously the redevelopment would be where a majority of the cost comes in at. So we're talking multiple millions of dollars with regard to the proposal that we submitted, and we may share that with you if we end up winning the proposal. If not, we may be considering this same type of strategy that we have for this site for other locations, right? So I won't share too much with you as far as the overall design, but one thing about this area is a lot of traditional homes, right? And so when you're building in a residential community or neighborhood, one of the things that you do not want to do is disrupt the appeal, right? And or the streetscape or the overall characteristics of the neighborhood, right? So you want to figure out a way to design a property that ultimately fits in with the rest of the neighborhood. And this can be tough, right? Because these 6 contiguous lots, we're actually hoping to add multiple units, right? And so when we're adding multiple units, that means the mass of the building becomes larger. But we are thinking through a design that, once again, gives the project a curb appeal that ultimately fits within the community design. And so really excited about potentially having an opportunity to develop the concept that we were thinking through. But of course, this is an RFP that has not been awarded, and there may be a scenario where we don't obviously get the award for the project, which is fine. But just wanting to kind of walk the site with you and show you around. So one of the things that we had to think about is parking. And so a lot of times projects such as the infill projects that we're thinking through try to figure out ways to add parking to a site. And luckily these parcels are backed by an alley. The unfortunate part about that is that the alley is not necessarily taken care of as well as you would like for it to be, and the city doesn't necessarily maintain the alley. This is more or less a task for the residents to band together and manage. And so one of the challenges is that if we were to incorporate parking on the back side of the facility, we'd want it to have access. We want the residents to have access to the parking via the alley, and with the alley not necessarily up to par, that us, the developer, updating that alley to a certain extent, which is something that we have to incorporate in the overall budget when it comes to the projections, right? So that's one of the first things that we kind of thought through when it comes to or when it came to our proposal. We also wanted to figure out how we can add as many units as possible without, once again, disrupting the curbside appeal of the project. And so this area is zoned, or these parcels are zoned as R2. So that basically allows for single family or multifamily or two family properties more specifically. But there are conditional uses that the city would be willing to hear out. And so R2 does allow for conditional uses such as townhomes and multifamily facilities if done in a format that falls in line with the rule book, right? So we are thinking through a scenario where we're not adding two family units, but once again multiple multifamily facilities on this property. So but once again, figuring out a way to adhere to what's already in place as opposed to trying to get a variance, which is really it's possible to get done, but we want to try to keep the ability to develop this project as easy as possible. So we'd want to avoid things such as variances and things of that nature, and those conditional uses would allow for us to do just that, as long as we keep the design aspect in a certain manner based off of what my architects have come up with for this site. But already cleared, so no demo outside of some trees and shrubberage. I don't know if shrubberage is a word. I think it is. But it looks like some folks from the community or an organization using this site for a particular purpose. And this is important to note, because if somebody already has somewhat of a claim to this area, they may not necessarily be that happy with having this property developed in a particular way, right? They may, based off of what I'm seeing, want more or less to keep this in a format that allows for them to have an urban farm of sorts that gives them the ability to do what we're seeing here. So this is something to be mindful of, because these are the organizations that may have something to say about the project that we're proposing, and just being mindful of the fact that there are some people with actually there are a number of homeowners and organizations within Islandview that have a focus on urban farming and things of that nature. We have to figure out a way to accommodate their needs as best as we can, in order to make sure that we have a well-rounded project that ultimately caters to the residents of this area. But another thing to point out is the community voice here is pretty strong. There is a property not too far from here that had a bit of pushback from the community based upon the amount of affordable housing they had baked into the project. And so one of the things that the city of Detroit needs is affordable housing. We drastically need more affordable housing. And so that would be really one of the main focal points of the project, is to be able to add more affordable units to this area and to the city as a whole. That is, this lot at this corner is not incorporated in the RFP. This is owned by a private owner. I think the owner is New York based, as well as this lot here, right? So I think there are two lots, this larger lot, and then this single residential lot here, that are owned by a New York investor that may or may not sell this lot. But if we were able to get that lot we'd actually be able to potentially do a much larger development. But at this present moment, our goal is really not to do, you know, a large development. We'd rather do this residential infill that we're thinking through the details about now, as opposed to, you know, doing a development proposal that takes up this vast piece of land. That's not what we're trying to accomplish at this point. So yeah, I just wanted to take you along with us on this brief walkthrough of this potential infill development that we submitted an RFP on in Islandview, and fingers crossed we get it. If not, there will always be another opportunity. But with that said, I appreciate you chiming in, listening to me ramble, and I hope to see you in the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'm out. Peace.